Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of the Love and Light Show, where your special guest is Linda, and we're going to be talking about Liberate, Empower, Heal. I'm so excited for this conversation today. We're going to go deep into why you're having codependent or narcissistic patterns in your life or why you're attracting them. We're going to talk about her step process of liberation, how to break free of those old wounds, those old patterns in your life, how to be empowered, develop those skills that'll support you on your journey, and how to heal, be aligned and integrated with your actions. So I'm so excited for this conversation. We're also going to do an experience at the end where we're going to have these questions that will reflect on what neglected, I can say words that are English, wounds that we have in our subconscious or that are just holding us back or being triggered, so we can be aware of them and clear them and heal from them and move forward. Because sometimes 50% of the problem is just being aware of what's happening. So we're going to give you guys all kinds of support on your journey today with this. And I'm so excited to bring you on today, Linda. How are you doing?
Good, good. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. And this is the Love and Light Show, where every Wednesday and Friday at 12 Eastern, 1 Atlantic, 9 Pacific, we bring to you different light workers and healers and heart-centered entrepreneurs to support you in your healing journey. So you guys can get different tips and tricks and modalities and tools that will support you in your next best step, so you can have a plethora of buffets of all the different options that you guys can move on, so you can be the best version of yourself, first and foremost for yourself. And then you can support another people in your life, your coworkers, your friends, your family, and the communities around you, so that we can all be that change that we want to see in the world together. And definitely say hi as you're popping on live. Holly just sent us beautiful.
Hello,
Love
Holly.
it.
Love
Thank you,
it.
Holly. And we can't see you as we pop on live. So we're on the Be Live platform. We don't see your name pop up when you join us live. So you have to say hi in the comments for us to actually see that you're here. And definitely say hi when you're on the replay too. And feel free to share it out to anyone in your life that you know is super codependent. I used to be extremely codependent, and dealing with narcissists is not fun. So anyone who needs this valuable information, feel free to tag them or send them a private message about it, so that they can get this love and support and healing into their life, so that they can be that change for themselves. And I'm Laura McPhee. I'm the Joyful Goddess, a speaker, healer, and coach, and I love empowering women to get to their dream lives right now through self-love, self-care, sexual empowerment, and releasing and letting go of the limiting beliefs that are holding them back, that they're not good enough or pretty enough or smart enough or blank whatever enough in their life, so that they can move forward and be that change that they want to see in the world right now. And one of my favorite ways that I'm doing that is that clearing money blocks, manifesting energy. I'm doing a Manifesting 101 3-hour workshop tomorrow, which is Saturday. And it's also going to be recorded. So if you can't catch us live and you want this valuable healing and process in your life, we're going to literally go through what your dream life is, the life vision statement of your life, do the healings and release any blocks and resistance that have been holding you back from not already having it in your life right now. Because some people are like, oh yeah, I watched The Secret or read The Secret years ago, and like my life's not there. And there's so much more than just that. You also have to clear your subconscious beliefs that are preventing you from having that. Because if it's your heart's desire, you have the entire path to get there. You're the only person standing in your way from reaching these goals and desires. And it's been so powerful in my journey to like compare and contrast the people in the Tony Robbins world or healing world that have some of the pieces but don't have them all. And I've kind of like married and mixed, matched, and puzzle pieced them together throughout my journey to go from corporate to my dream life at the time, like a year and a half later, and then to continue to grow and expand into laptop lifestyle and traveling so much. So there's so many things that are like the nitty gritty of the limiting beliefs and daily practices and habits that we're going to go through in the 3-hour workshop tomorrow that will support you in living that life now, because the world needs more lit up people in their truth, living their desires and showing up and healing the world the way that they feel called to do. So I'm really excited for this workshop tomorrow. And I'm so excited to get into this conversation today. So how do you help people even acknowledge that they're codependent or what they're attracting, and being like, oh, I am attracting a narcissist, and be aware of that conversation? Because I know when I first learned that I was codependent, I'm like, for one, I don't know what that means. And then when they said it's about like alcoholism and stuff like that, I'm like, there wasn't an alcoholic in my family. And I'm like, wait, my grandpa was, so that means that my mom became codependent and I've emulated my mom. So I've been extremely codependent in my life. Then it all like clicked and made sense.
You know, I think that story is something that everybody can resonate with who discovers a codependent narcissistic patterns in their life. And it definitely starts with that awareness. So you asked earlier, how can you know that? Look at the people that you are attracting into your life.
Yeah.
And to just kind of kind of go with a simple definition of narcissism and codependence, do you attract people who you feel like are attempting to control you? Is there anybody you feel controlled by? It is highly likely you're dealing with a narcissist or someone who has dominant energy of narcissistic traits. But when you discover that, then the hardest part is pointing the fingers at yourself and realize, oh my gosh, why am I attracting these people or this pattern into my life again and again? And it usually means, swallow that big lump in your throat, like, am I a codependent? And one way to kind of discover that is, and to go to a simple definition is, do I constantly seek outside validation or approval from others in order for me to feel worthy or to feel happy or to even feel worthy of love? Am I making someone else or something else my source of love? If you listen to love songs and you're like one of those people that are like, I can't live without you. And it's like the number one codependent phrase. And it's such a hard thing to hear when you're not in that awareness. But once you are, like you said, for yourself, you realize, looking back at your own family patterns, because I believe that is where they all start. You'll see how the codependents and narcissists kind of easily attract each other. And that is really what creates the toxic relationship patterns. So again, anytime that we make another person our source of love and self-worth, toxicity is very likely to ensue.
Yes.
I'm sorry,
I
go ahead.
When I started my journey, when it was like, happiness is within you, and like, don't give the key to your happiness to other people, and like, come to a relationship 100% happy yourself. It was like mind blowing. I'm like, wait, what? Like, that's not what I had understood before. Like, I completely had the belief system that I was here to support and people please others, and to like completely mold myself into the perfect ideal person that I thought a man would want. So if a man was slightly attracted to me, I'd be like, oh my God, you're cute, you like me. And I'm now going to like pretend that I like heavy metal music and learn about WWE wrestling when I was like in high school and hated it. I'd be like, I'm going to like study how can I be the optimal person for you, and like let go of all of my stuff and all of my values. I'm just like going to show up with you, and I hope that you will like, so that maybe I can get love from a man. I had like deep daddy issues of not being lovable.
Yeah, it was
big realization.
Yes, it was the same for me. And I think once you do that, how can I change myself to meet your needs? Right there, you've already lost a sense of yourself completely. And the only way to get that back is when we talk about loving yourself, it really is about connecting with a higher power, connecting with the divine within you, your true source of love. And when you have that, that's when you'll have that feeling of what loving yourself really is, and coming into that wholeness within you, so that you are attracting someone who is a vibrational match to you, not attracting someone to fill the void.
Yes. So powerful. So how do you help people liberate from their old patterns into a newer life?
So usually people who have patterns that cycle are obviously blocked. And the only way to break free of them is to actually take a look at them, face them, and embrace them. Because a lot of times for people who are especially empaths, introverts, or highly sensitive people, the common thread between not dealing with your wounds and avoiding them is the sensitivity and the overwhelm. This is too much to bear. I don't want to go there. Let me just stuff it and repress it so I don't ever have to deal with that again. And in that energy, if you believe in the law of attraction, if you're holding that, I will never deal with the people who control me, I hate that, right there, you are already carrying the energy of attracting that very energy you hate to you. It doesn't matter if you want it or don't want it. So one way to look at what wounds am I neglecting is, what are you avoiding in your life? The very thing that you are running away from, the very thing that triggers you to tears when you think about it, that's the thing that you need to embrace and to really love in order to let go of it. And that is my brand name. I do teach people how to love and let go. And that's a hard part of the release process. So one of the things that I do in my coaching is a 2-hour intensive session where people get an opportunity to kind of take that journey within, to really go there, to really actually to bring up that pain, because a lot of times, since we've avoided the pain so long, we don't want to feel it. Mm-hmm. And the purpose to bring up that pain is not to like relive trauma, but in order to let it go, you have to bring it out of the dark and into the light. You know, once you do that, that's where everything can transform. And I take people through a 2-hour process of asking high quality questions to help them come to that release, not just knowing in their mind, but actually feeling in their soul, to work from it as at a soul level, so the transformation happens from the inside out.
I love that. And how do you help people to be empowered to get to those steps, to be like, okay, I need these skills and this to like create a better life?
Okay. So my coaching is actually a 3-month process. And after those intensive sessions, there's about 2 or 3 of that. And the purpose of that is to release those wounds, so that you are now in a higher vibration, so that you can work with the law of attraction for you rather than against you. And then that's where the empowerment skills come in. So skills, especially for sensitive people and empaths, are self-soothing, emotional intelligence skills, authentic expression and communication, learning how to set boundaries. So that's where we look at what are the patterns in your life that you are suffering from, that you tried so hard, and what are some practical steps that we can take that actually meet the desires of your own soul, not doing something other people are telling you to do, but what feels in alignment with you and what you truly desire, and learning how to develop the skills to do that, because it's so easy for us to look outside of us and find patterns in other people. You know, it's so hard to look at patterns within ourselves. Sometimes you need someone else to mirror that to us, because I truly believe we already know at the soul level what we want, what we need, and what we have to do in order to achieve that. Sometimes we just need somebody to be that mirror to help us dive deeper within ourselves, to show that, you know, I do believe we have the answers there already within us. And I believe my role is to show that to you, to show how you can discover that for yourself.
Yes. And like boundaries don't have to be scary. I remember when I first thought of it, I was just like, I don't want to like build walls between me and my loved ones. And like, it's just, it visualized to such like a negative experience for me, because I had never really had experiences saying no. And I would just do everything that everyone wanted me to do. And to reframe it as like, if you had this like beautiful field of flowers growing and you like just didn't want people to walk on them, you'd like put up a sign or like put a little fence around it. Like you would establish what that boundary is. You would clearly communicate to that to someone, because a lot of the time they don't know that they're stepping over your boundary or walking all over you or treating you against how your standard and belief system is. So getting really clear on like your new standards and what you will and won't accept on your life, and then creating the boundaries and like communicating it to the easiest person first, that you're like, okay, I said no to someone and they were like, fine. And like the end of the world didn't happen. So now I can do it with someone else and do the baby steps, and then eventually get to like the more toxic people that were in my life to be like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. This isn't how we're going to react and have relation to each other. And at the beginning, it seemed like this big, overwhelming thing, but taking that baby step one after another, and like celebrating those wins was super powerful for me, to be like, it's skills, it's like learning a bike, you can do it one baby step at a time, and it's more manageable.
Yes. And I want to say 2 things on that note. Saying, oftentimes empaths and sensitive people have the guilt with saying no. But once we begin to realize that saying no to someone else is a hell yes to ourselves, that's where the liberation can happen. And for people that do attract narcissists, if we take a look at how that is actually a mirror to us, the biggest thing and the clinical definition of a narcissist is that they lack empathy for others. When I look at how is that a mirror to people who are codependent, it's sometimes empaths lack empathy for themselves. If you think about it, if you truly had empathy for yourselves, you would do exactly what you do for other people and reach out to them to serve in any way that you can and be there. But as for an empath, there's always self-sabotage, I'm not worthy enough, or guilt that blocks you from giving that same love you so freely give away to others back to yourself. So it's also an empathy issue. So while codependents can have empathy for other people, just like the narcissist, it's mirroring back, you may be lacking empathy for yourself.
And it's very interesting to see the challenges that come up for people when I ask them to just say, I love you in the mirror. It's like you can say I love you to everyone else, and you say it every day. And I know it was weird for me and felt strange when I started, and it felt like conceited and egotistical, and it was just so weird to look at myself in the mirror and be like, I love you. And now I do it regularly, and I've like neuropathway changed my brain to be like, I love you, I'm absolutely incredible, I deserve outstanding things when I see my reflection. But it's just conditioned that we give love to everyone else so that we'll hopefully be good enough and get love and be like accepted into their reality. And then it's like, we deserve all of that love, and you can't love someone else more than you love yourself. Like if you are only loving yourself at like 40%, you're only giving your husband, your wife, your children 40%, and they deserve so much more than that, and so do you. And it's like, that was a huge game changer for me to realize that.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So how do you help people heal through those things so that they can really be aligned with their new action in life?
So the healing happens when, you know that healing happens when the same person or the same pattern or the same situation that reminds you of that can happen again in your life, and you are no longer triggered anymore. That's when you know you've taken all of this full circle. So the healing that I do in my coaching is actually where you get to integrate, you get support with integrating aligned action with what you want to create and attract in your life. A lot of people feel like healing is what somebody else does to me, for me, so I don't have to have the responsibility for myself. But it really is about, okay, so now you've released the baggage, you've raised your vibration, now you've developed the skills to do it. Now, what are some practical action steps that you can take? Because oftentimes you want to go for that big thing that's not manageable. But like you mentioned earlier, what are those baby steps that we can take along the way, and how can I keep myself accountable to create the momentum to keep us going so that we don't fall back into that pattern? It's really about transforming the shift, like I said earlier, from the inside out. And that really is what aligned action or what inspired action is all about.
Yes, I love that. And earlier, Holly was agreeing. She said, absolutely. And then Kenneth said, that is true. Empaths usually give to everyone else. I'm pretty much on the bottom of the TLC list. So it's good awareness to have that and start making those baby steps to be like, what can I do to be a little bit more loving to myself today? That could be saying I love you in the mirror, or joining a program, or being like, this is my next best step, or a book, or anything that gives you a little bit more space and love in your life. Wonderful. Oops. And how do you help people really like make that jump to be like, I am codependent and I need this? Like, is there any kind of big obstacles that come in their mind where they're like, I do deserve this? Because I know at the beginning I thought it was so selfish to go on this journey and to like take time away from those people and start doing stuff for myself. I really had to be almost pushed to complete burnout at work for me to take this. So do you have any like recommendations for people who are like, yeah, that's me, I'm definitely codependent right now, so that they can actually make the step forward into reaching out for this healing program, reaching out for support from others?
You know, what is actually sad about that, because everything you're saying is so true, is that sometimes it takes for people to hit rock bottom and to go through a painful experience in order to raise their hand and be like, yes, that's me. And because there's a difference between acknowledging, yes, that's me, and then asking for help. I mean, for the empath, that's the hardest thing, is to allow yourself to ask for and receive help. But I think it really is, my work is really for people who are sick and tired of being sick and tired. And if you take a look, I think what am I trying to say here? Empaths have a high threshold for pain. So that's why they take it and take it and take it and take it. So what I would say to help for anyone who is curious about, am I ready for work? To ask yourself, look at what you've already experienced so far, the patterns that are repeating again. And look at your age right now. Let's say you're 25, let's say you're 35, let's say you're 55. And then say, okay, do I want to take this same pattern for another 25 years? Do I want to repeat the same pattern for the next 30 years? And if you're truly ready to make that shift and you're sick and tired of being tired, that's when it's time for you to reach out. When you're thirsty and you're hungry for a major shift in your life. Because for empaths, to be honest, who are kind of sitting in that, well, it's painful and it's mediocre, but you know what? I can handle it. Oh my gosh, that is a danger zone, because then you'll be in that unconscious pattern cycling forever and ever and ever. What I would honestly say is, well, maybe you're not ready, and that you do need to attract a little more pain into your life until you realize, oh, this is my threshold and I need to like cut this out right now. So it's coming to that realization that, you know, there's pride there. I can do this on my own. I don't want to admit this, but how many years have you been doing that? You know, and how has it been working out for you? And as far as looking at, you know, who is the right person for me, that's something that you can use your intuition and your sensitivity, which is a part of your gift, you know, to kind of feel into who am I vibing with internally? Who do I feel like really understands my needs? Whose story is similar to my story? And that's where you can really learn to develop the trust with someone, you know, okay, that's the person I need to reach out and work with.
Yes. I love that. And Holly said, don't ignore the red flags. Understand what the red flags are.
Yes,
So just because it's
I love
common
that.
for all of your sisters or friends or parents and family members have going on, doesn't mean that it's okay or safe or normal. Very powerful. So let's get into that beautiful exercise. And I know that I can be sometimes guilty of listening to things in the background. So everyone just take a couple moments out of your day and give yourself this gift. We're going to be led by Linda into different questions so that we can really reflect on the neglected wounds that we have in our bodies and that have been holding us back, because it's so important. We can get this support right now. We can be like, yep, that was me, and I'm ready to do the next step. So I give you guys so much love in acknowledging that you need this, and also to start doing that with us right now. So definitely take it away, Linda.
Okay, beautiful. So I will be sharing 8 questions to help you discover where your neglected wounds are, to give you that awareness and discover, am I ready to go here in this area of my life so I can heal? So the first question, and maybe we'll put this in the comments later because it may go faster than people may need time for. So the first question is, who do you feel is a burden in your life? That's number 1, who's a burden. Number 2, who do you feel triggers you most? Number 3, who do you avoid contact with? Number 4, who do you resent most? 5, with whom do you have unfinished business? And 6, who do you feel has hurt you most? 7, who do you feel has left you behind or left you all alone? And 8, who do you feel is difficult to love and want to love more? So when you give yourself some time, I'd say maybe 5 to 10 minutes to discover what names come up. It's likely that you'll see the same name is popping up more than once.
Yep.
And help you develop awareness to what vibration you're carrying around that person, as far as a wound that needs some attention right now.
So powerful. And it's interesting to like know that in your head versus see it on the page. Like it almost becomes more real to people when they like see it or they journal about it, to be like this is actually what's happening in my life, instead of making kind of like rose-colored glasses about it in the reality.
Yes. And one thing I'll share that you can do once you have this list, again, this is just very surface work, just scratching the surface. Once you have your names and you kind of take a look at, whose energy is really do I feel is blocking me right now? For example, when I did this, when I first started doing this work on myself, I had issues with male figures in my life as well. So, for example, one of my wounds was with both my birth dad and my stepdad. So one of the things that I actually resented was their immaturity and their control issues. But because I was like, I hate, they're such controllers, and I had that resentment and anger toward them, what did I attract into my life? Relationships exactly like that. And not just toward me, but through me, meaning I also embodied being a controlling at times, or even taking on narcissistic traits as well as codependent traits. So once I was able to acknowledge that and be aware of that, how I was recreating that pattern, carrying that angry energy, one of the things that I did for myself and what I do with my clients is to help them move toward an energy of gratitude and love. So taking that same wound, for example, I can look back at these controlling behaviors I experienced in my life and realize, like, wow, I'm so glad this happened to me, because it has actually taught me the value of humility and honoring free will. So because of that experience, I have such a high value on that, as well as the value of developing emotional intelligence. Again, had that experience or pain not happened to me, I would not be where I am and who I am today. And already just by me saying that, I can feel the shift in my own energy, just acknowledging that. And when you can look at wounds or people in your life that have hurt you that way, and then shift toward I'm so grateful that it's happened to me, because look at all the blessings that came out of it, your energy will already shift right there. And that's just the beginning of how you can release that wound to now begin attracting what you do want instead of what you don't want.
Yes. And it's really powerful to not underestimate that healing, that when you heal, the people around you also heal. And it just creates more love and light in your reality. It was completely mind-boggling to me. Like, I didn't talk to my dad for 4 years. I became the bad guy, and he wanted everyone to choose sides, mom or dad. Everyone chose mom's side, and then I was the bad guy for that. So it was kind of like, I don't need that energy in my life. Like, he doesn't want to talk to me. I don't want to talk to him. And I did so much daddy issue work and so many forgiveness letters and all these different things. And to go from that point of like not talking, like zero contact, like didn't know how he was, no Christmas, holidays, birthdays, nothing. And to go from that place to being like, I can take my old stories and literally share with you, like, I got in contact with him again, and we did a beautiful healing experience from that, to be like, this was my old story, and this is why I'm grateful for it, because I've become an extremely strong, powerful entrepreneurial woman who helps other women in these areas. Like, if I didn't have all of these things happen, I wouldn't be who I am today, and I fucking love who I am today. And
Yes.
it all worked out for me. And it's helped so many other people that I have the story, and I can resonate with so many people who've had similar types of experiences. So I'm so grateful for all of that. And it was just so freeing, because in that time he had also gotten like mental health support and was able to be like, I was overwhelmed. Like, I didn't know how to handle these things. And it blew my mind, because I had created all these different scenarios of what that like first interaction would be like if and when it ever happened. And in no time space reality did I think he was going to have gotten support and help to be able to understand why he was doing those kind of things. But me starting that healing in my family created so many positive ripple effects to everyone, and has healed so many of those old habits and tendencies. And it's not just for us. Like, my children will never see abusive or codependent
Yes.
behavior. It's going to change every future generation. So I know it can be scary and daunting to like face this, to be like, fuck, I'm codependent. Like, it was terrifying, and I bawled, and I went to my brothers and I'm like, I've been behaving codependent. I need your help. Like, I just can't do this anymore. And it was like really hard at the time, but the life and the love that I've created since that are infinitely worth it. And it's completely priceless to do this work. So if you guys are feeling called to really tackle this, I encourage you guys to reach out to whoever you feel called to. Like, Linda's program is incredible. It guides you through those steps so deeply. So can you share with them how they can connect with you after the show?
Yes, I do have a site up, Love and Let Go.
Yeah.
It's love, the letter N, letgo.com. And check that out. You'll learn more about who I am and my story and my background. And you can schedule a free 20-minute discovery call to kind of really connect one-to-one to see if this work is right for you.
Beautiful. And can you put that in the comments after so that they can quickly click?
Yes, I'll put that all in the comments. Absolutely.
And Kenneth says, you can grow out of codependency. Don't worry. Yes, you can be so free and confident and empowered and a goddess or a god or however you want to like call yourself after and be like, I'm fucking awesome.
Yes, it's not who you are. It is not your identity, just the behavior.
And you'd also asked a question. So is there a difference between empaths and highly sensitive people, or are they the same?
There is, I would say the umbrella is similar, but there are some slight differences. And I'm actually going to guide you to a website that I also write for called highlysensitiverefuge.com. Some of you may be aware of this. There's another, their sister website, introvertdear.com, with so many articles that can help to clarify that.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. And thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Love and Light Show, and definitely send it out to anyone in your life who's dealing with codependency or narcissistic behaviors or patterns in their life so they can be supported. Continuing to normalize this behavior and be like, yep, this is just how life is. This is how love works. This is what the love songs say, is not doing you any service, isn't doing anyone around you a service. And it's definitely not healthy for the planet to continue in these unhealthy, toxic relationship patterns. So definitely share it out or tag anyone or send it a private message, that information to the people in your life who need this, so you can support them and be that love and light in their life. And thank you, Linda, so much for the work that you're doing in the world and for sharing this beautiful wisdom with us today.
Thank you to you as well.
You're welcome. Sending you guys all so much love and have a wonderful weekend.